Imagine a world where moving money across borders is as seamless as sending an email. No delays, no excessive fees, no hidden intermediaries, just pure, frictionless value transfer, accessible to anyone, anywhere, at any time. Now, envision Ripple, a company that, not long ago, was entangled in heated regulatory battles, standing on the edge of a revolution that could position its cryptocurrency, XRP, at the very heart of global financial infrastructure. Could this be the moment when digital assets finally shatter barriers and win the trust of Wall Street, Main Street, and beyond? To understand how we arrived at this pivotal moment, let's rewind to the origins of Ripple. Founded in the year 2012, Ripple entered the scene with a radical ambition: to overhaul the archaic system governing cross-border payments. In the traditional world, sending money from New York to Tokyo or London to Lagos can take multiple days, incur hefty fees, and leave both sender and recipient in the dark about where their funds are at any given moment. The process is riddled with intermediaries, correspondent banks, clearinghouses, and compliance checks, all adding time, cost, and risk. Unlike Bitcoin, which emerged as a statement against the banking establishment, Ripple chose a different path. Rather than circumventing banks, Ripple sought to empower them. Its vision was to act as a bridge, connecting existing financial institutions using advanced blockchain technology. At the center of this vision sat XRP, a digital asset purpose-built to serve as a bridge currency, enabling instant and affordable currency conversions between the United States dollar, the euro, the Japanese yen, the British pound, and countless other national currencies. With XRP as the linchpin, value could hop from one currency to another in mere seconds, with transaction costs dropping to fractions of a cent. This approach captured the imagination of banks and payment providers worldwide. Ripple's technology promised to unlock an internet of value, where moving money was as effortless as sending a text. By the mid-2010s, Ripple had forged partnerships with dozens of banks and payment platforms. But in the world of finance, innovation always invites scrutiny and resistance. Then, in the closing days of the year 2020, the United States Securities and Exchange Commission delivered a bombshell. It filed a lawsuit against Ripple, alleging that XRP was an unregistered security. Overnight, uncertainty engulfed the project. Exchanges delisted XRP, partnerships paused, and the price tumbled. Many predicted Ripple's demise. But instead of retreating, Ripple doubled down. The company expanded its international footprint, deepened ties with overseas partners, and invested heavily in research and development. Fast forward to today, and the numbers tell a story of resilience and ambition. Over 5 million active wallets now reside on the XRP network, reflecting a vibrant and growing user base. In June of this year, daily active addresses on the network surged by 35%, a testament to increasing real-world engagement. Ripple's flagship solution, On-Demand Liquidity, or ODL, saw its transaction volume jump by 60% in the second quarter of 2025 alone, moving a staggering $750 million United States dollars worth of value in just 3 months. This is not just exponential growth. It is a sign that Ripple's network is gaining real traction among businesses and individuals alike. But numbers alone do not tell the whole story. Ripple's strategy extends far beyond raw transaction volume. The company recently secured partnerships with 5 new financial institutions, bringing its total network to more than 400 partners worldwide. These alliances include traditional banks, cutting-edge fintechs, remittance providers, and even central banks exploring the future of digital money. Ripple is not just building bridges, it is weaving a global web of interconnected value. Ripple's technology is also being put to the test at the highest levels of financial oversight. The Bank for International Settlements, often described as the central bank of central banks, is actively piloting the XRP ledger for cross-border settlements. This move signals a new level of institutional interest in Ripple's solutions. If the pilot proves successful, it could open the door to even wider adoption by central banks and supranational institutions. Meanwhile, Ripple is making bold bets on the future of decentralized finance. In 2025, the XRP Ledger Foundation committed $100 million United States dollars to support the development of DeFi projects on its blockchain. This capital infusion has already borne fruit. Smart contract deployment on the XRP Ledger surged by 120% in the first half of the year. Developers are flocking to the network, building everything from decentralized exchanges to lending platforms and tokenized assets. Ripple's innovation does not stop there. The company's RLUSD stablecoin, launched to provide a compliant, price-stable digital dollar, has already reached a market capitalization of $450 million United States dollars as of July 1, 2025. RLUSD is being closely monitored by global regulators, including Christine Lagarde, president of the European Central Bank, who recently remarked, "We are closely monitoring the development and adoption of stablecoins like RLUSD." So what is Ripple's endgame? The answer arrived in dramatic fashion this year. Ripple has formally submitted its application for an official United States banking license. If granted, this license would transform Ripple from an outsider into a regulated financial institution. No longer would it need to rely on third-party banks to process payments or settlements. Instead, Ripple could operate directly within the United States financial system, offering payment and settlement services, launching new financial products, and integrating XRP and RLUSD seamlessly with established banks, fintechs, and enterprise clients. Obtaining a United States banking license is no ordinary feat. It requires opening Ripple's books to intense regulatory scrutiny, meeting the strictest compliance standards, and demonstrating that its operations are not only legal, but robust, transparent, and resilient. The process can take months, if not years, and involves coordination with multiple regulatory agencies, including the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. The stakes could not be higher. If approved, Ripple would gain direct access to the United States payments infrastructure, including the Federal Reserve's real-time settlement systems. This would put Ripple in a position to compete directly with the world's largest banks, and potentially leapfrog them. But the road ahead is fraught with challenges. Some skeptics warn that regulatory scrutiny could unearth hidden risks or stifle innovation. Others argue that even with a license, Ripple will face fierce competition from a new generation of blockchain networks, stablecoins, and central bank digital currencies. The landscape is shifting rapidly. For example, central banks from 5 countries are currently piloting central bank digital currency technology on the XRP ledger. These pilots offer both opportunity and risk. If successful, they could cement Ripple's role at the core of national payment systems. If not, central banks may pivot to rival platforms. There is also the specter of stablecoins, digitally native tokens pegged to fiat currencies, which have exploded in popularity. Ripple's RLUSD stablecoin aims to set a new compliance benchmark, with Jack McDonald, Senior Vice President for Stablecoins at Ripple, stating, "RLUSD has the potential to establish a new standard for regulatory compliance in the stablecoin space." However, competition is fierce. Major players like Tether, Circle's USDC, and even government-backed digital currencies are all vying for dominance in the digital dollar race. Amid these competitive dynamics, Ripple's approach to sustainability stands out as a differentiator. The XRP ledger uses a consensus mechanism that consumes dramatically less energy per transaction than traditional proof-of-work blockchains like Bitcoin. In fact, independent research conducted by Dr. Ross Anderson of the Cambridge University Computer Laboratory found that a single XRP transaction requires less power than a basic Google search. As environmental, social, and governance criteria become increasingly important for institutional investors, Ripple's green credentials could become a decisive advantage. Let's take a closer look at the practical impact. Why should the average person or business care about Ripple's regulatory journey? First, consider remittances. Every year, migrant workers around the globe send hundreds of billions of dollars home to support their families. Yet fees can eat up 10% or more of each transfer, particularly in developing markets. If Ripple secures a banking license, its technology could slash fees to less than 1/10 of a cent per transaction, making it possible for families to keep more of their hard-earned money. Transfers that currently take multiple days could settle in seconds, unlocking new possibilities for economic inclusion. Second, for businesses engaged in global trade, faster and cheaper payments mean improved cash flow, reduced risk, and greater competitiveness. Imagine a small exporter in India receiving payment from a buyer in Brazil within seconds without worrying about exchange rates or banking delays. This is not a distant dream. Ripple's network is already being used for such transactions, and direct access to the United States banking system would turbocharge this capability. For investors, perhaps the greatest prize is regulatory clarity. The uncertainty spawned by the Securities and Exchange Commission lawsuit kept many institutional investors on the sidelines. Michael Green, a financial analyst at Morgan Stanley, explained, "Institutional capital needs clear rules, Ripple's regulatory strategy is a game-changer if it succeeds. A banking license would provide the ultimate stamp of approval, potentially unlocking a flood of institutional capital into the XRP ecosystem. Already, XRP's price has surged by more than 100% this year, with ChatGPT projecting that it could climb another 12% to reach $2.50 by the end of July, citing the positive market sentiment surrounding Ripple's regulatory advancements. But it is not just about price appreciation. The underlying technology is evolving rapidly. The XRP ledger now supports advanced smart contracts, enabling developers to build sophisticated decentralized applications. The ecosystem is flourishing. Decentralized exchanges, lending platforms, real-world asset tokenization, and even digital identity solutions are being built on XRP. The XRP Ledger Foundation's $100 million investment in DeFi is fueling a surge of innovation, attracting entrepreneurial talent from around the world. Central banks are taking notice as well. As of July 2025, central banks from 5 countries are piloting central bank digital currency technology on the XRP ledger. This experimentation could pave the way for national digital currencies to run atop Ripple's infrastructure, creating a seamless interface between fiat and crypto. If successful, Ripple could become a critical partner to governments seeking to modernize their payment systems while maintaining regulatory oversight. Ripple's global ambitions are matched by its relentless pace of innovation. In June 2025, Ripple acquired a minority stake in HashiCorp, a cloud infrastructure automation company, for $50 million US dollars. This strategic move is aimed at strengthening Ripple's cloud-based payment solutions, providing greater scalability, security, and reliability for enterprise clients. By integrating cutting-edge cloud technology, Ripple is positioning itself to serve the needs of both traditional banks and next-generation fintechs. Of course, regulatory risk remains. The outcome of the Securities and Exchange Commission lawsuit is still pending, and the path to a United States banking license is far from guaranteed. Global regulators, too, are watching closely. Christine Lagarde's statement that the evolution of stablecoins like RLUSD is being monitored closely by global regulators underscores the delicate balance that Ripple must strike. Too much innovation, and regulators may push back. Too little, and competitors may leap ahead. So what scenarios could unfold in the coming months and years? If Ripple secures its United States banking license and achieves a favorable outcome in its legal battles, it could become a dominant force in the multi-trillion-dollar cross-border payments market. Financial institutions, fintechs, and even central banks might flock to the XRP ledger for its speed, cost efficiency, and regulatory compliance. The result could be widespread adoption of XRP, increased demand for RLUSD, and a dramatic reshaping of the global financial landscape. Alternatively, if regulatory headwinds intensify or competitors gain ground, Ripple could be forced to adapt once again. Its track record suggests it is up to the challenge. Even in the face of adversity, Ripple has continued to innovate, exploring new use cases in DeFi, asset tokenization, and digital identity. The company's ability to pivot, invest in emerging technologies, and build broad-based alliances bodes well for its future prospects. But let's not overlook the broader implications for the world's financial system. Ripple's rise is emblematic of a wider shift toward digital transformation in global finance. Legacy payment rails, many of them decades old, are being disrupted by blockchain-based solutions that offer speed, transparency, and programmability. The very concept of money is evolving, with programmable digital assets, tokenized securities, and algorithmic stablecoins redefining how value moves and is stored. At the same time, the stakes for consumers and businesses are enormous. Greater financial inclusion could lift millions out of poverty, while faster, cheaper payments could fuel new waves of entrepreneurship and economic growth. The risks are real: regulatory uncertainty, cyber threats, and market volatility. But so too are the rewards. As Sheila Warren of the World Economic Forum put it, blockchain technologies like XRP have the potential to transform financial inclusion globally. It is a vision that resonates not just with technologists and bankers, but with anyone who believes in a more connected, transparent, and equitable world. So as we stand at this crossroads, the question remains: will Ripple's bold gamble pay off? Will it break through the last regulatory barriers and earn its place at the heart of global banking? Or will new challenges, whether from regulators, rivals, or shifting market dynamics, halt its ascent? Here is what we know. Ripple today is better positioned than ever before. Over 400 institutional partners, more than 5 million active wallets across the globe, a stablecoin gaining traction, and a technology stack that is both energy efficient and scalable. The company has proven its resilience, adaptability, and commitment to compliance. Yet the race is far from over. Regulatory winds can shift without warning, and competitors are relentless. Behind the headlines, there is a lesser-known fact. Ripple's consensus mechanism is one of the greenest in the industry, consuming less energy per transaction than a simple online search. As sustainability becomes a top priority for governments, investors, and consumers, this could be Ripple's ace in the hole, a reason for environmentally conscious institutions to favor XRP over energy-hungry alternatives. So whether you are an investor seeking opportunity, a developer building the future of finance, or simply someone curious about how tomorrow's money will work, Ripple's next chapter promises to be a defining moment. The story is unfolding now in boardrooms, regulatory agencies, and developer communities around the world. It is a ride worth watching, and one that could redefine how we send, spend, and save money for generations to come. If you found this video insightful, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe Ripple will win the race, or will the old guard hold on? For more updates on global economics and breakthrough technologies, stay tuned. Until next time, keep your eyes on the future.